You know, the neighborhood over there in Eastwood and Grandview. Competing with us to beat him up though. Now he chews, so I don't leave him alone. No.
I'm dropping my right hand in their sternum.
Take your butts to bed.
I don't want to be on an episode when Scott's talking basketball.
Oh man, that's a lot. So I play, of course, the University of Akron. I go in order. So I just basically go into the countries because there's a lot of organizations I play for. So I went to Taiwan. Actually, I'm sorry, I went to Poland first. Then I went to Taiwan. Then I went to Belgium. Then I went to Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, Dubai, France, China, man, Tunisia, Bahrain, Canada, Dominican. Oh my goodness, what else? Germany, Ireland. Yeah, I'm like I essentially been on every continent. It's
That's
like
pretty cool.
yeah, I've been there a lot of places because essentially, and I tell this to a lot of professional athletes because I can do consulting for some athletes. You're not a basketball player. That's what a lot of people think they are. You're a contractor. You're essentially a basketball contractor. These organizations are hiring you for your basketball skills.
Right.
That's what you're contracting out. So and everyone does this. Whether you work currently I'm working in UPS. So as a UPS driver, I am driving trucks for them. They're paying me money for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing for any job that you do. You have a podcast. The value you're bringing in is you're creating a podcast, creating content for people to listen to. It's the same thing. It's like you're a contractor. These guys are hiring you for basketball now. What does that provide for them? Well, you sell tickets if you win, which is really what they're paying you for. They're paying for you to win.
Yeah.
Because if you win, you get ticket sales, you get merchandise, you get apparel. They pay you $10,000. They're making $50,000. That's essentially what it is. Now, when you lose, people stop showing up. People stop buying tickets.
Like the Pistons right now, 28 game losing streak?
Yeah.
People might buy tickets to see them win.
Yeah, well, in a place like the Pistons, that they can run at a deficit because the NBA's organization will subsidize them. So that's why they can get away with that.
Mm-hmm.
Not every league does that, but for an NBA, they'll subsidize it because it's if teams start falling out, like in Europe, that's what happened. If they run out of money, they're gone.
They're gone, yeah.
Yeah, so you can't imagine this is gone. Like, no, that's not gonna happen. So, I'm pretty sure through the luxury tax, that's how they're able to subsidize some of the teams if they're running at a deficit too low. But then you'll have your diehard fans. Cleveland Browns is a good example.
Yeah.
Like, they're not making that much money either, but the NFL will help them if they are running a deficit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the business side comes in. A lot of athletes and players do not understand it, and that's where I try to educate them on.
But Jake Paul, they need to fight. Some actual boxers that's actual in their prime, and y'all the fans will see. Jake Paul ain't no real boxer, or nothing like that.
You think it's watering down boxing? Like there's
I feel it is
that balance.
Yeah, I
between
feel
MMA.
like a lot now. Like even with like the press conferences and the weigh-ins, I feel like it's like a TV show now.
Right.
I don't like that. My father always taught us respect. And you don't see a lot of fighters respecting. Anymore. They're disrespecting, calling people out their names, pushing them and stuff at the fight. I had that happen to me. My second pro fight at Wheeling Downs, I had fought a guy named Justin Johnson from Pittsburgh, and before the before the fights, we have weigh-ins a day ahead, and he shoved me, and I went after him, but they grabbed me up and stuff, but I told him like we about to fight tomorrow,
Yeah.
Why do all that? And it kind of let me know that he was scared,
Right.
I was like, oh, he's scared. He tried to just, intimidate me before the fight. But I had to let him know, nah, that ain't gonna work. Now you really piss me off. And what's crazy is out of all my fights, 13 boxing fights, I never fought to hurt anybody. It was crazy. I never fought to like really knock somebody out. I
Right.
always fought to just put on a show for my fans and just get the win.
What would you tell, kids or parents or any athlete whatsoever, like, hey, I suggest this for preventative measures of getting injured, because to even prevent these things from happening, what should they be doing in a regimen, maybe whether eating or stretching or whatever it may be?
I would say the two biggest things is sleep and eating. And I tell people all the time, because kids nowadays, there's so much distraction when they could be going to sleep and stuff like that. So they're not getting good sleep, not getting quality sleep, and sleep's when your brain really your body recovers, and that's how you actually even learn how to do new movements. So I tell kids when you first start trying to ride a bike, you don't get it that very first time. Like you may get on, you ride a little bit, you fall off, you ride, but every day you get better and better and better because your brain will is downloading those new movement patterns. It's refine those every day when you sleep. So the longer sleep you get, the more redefined movement pattern you get. It just gets more embedded in there. So making sure kids sleep, that's like a huge one for me. Another big one is flexibility because here's the thing. 50% of all injuries are preventable. And a lot of injuries that kids get will be from their training program, but they don't know it. No. And you can see this in a lot of cases. If you see let's say in a school program, like 3 people got shoulder problems, 4 people got growing problems, 3 people blew out their knee and their ACL in the last couple of years. When I say that, I mean like a non-contact type, like if they're running, they're cutting, and their knee gives out. That's more of a structural issue. So flexibility is a huge part because a lot of times kids lack that flexibility, and when you lack the flexibility, you're more likely to get hurt. But also, too, if you want to get faster, like literally, I tell kids all the time, stride distance times stride frequency equals speed. So you got to be able to gain ground with each step. And also, you got to have fast turnover. In order to do that, you need that flexibility. So I would say, getting rest, getting sleep, a good night's sleep every night is key. And then also, too, the flexibility. Those are the biggest things. Like I can do a stretch where I can, excuse me, where I can see where, like a lot of quad and hip flexor stretches, I can tell like basically how athletic a kid is, like just from the scene, or I can say how much more they can be, because sometimes kids are athletic, but their body just compensates. And I tell people all the time, athletes are like the ultimate compensators because if you're playing and you roll your ankle, you're like hobbling along, like the kid wants to get back in there, so they're not going to sit out real long. They're going to be like, I'm good enough now, I can get back in there. So they're going to go back in there, but they may still be in pain. They're still like compensating, but they're still going to find a way to play and do well, almost so well that you may not even be able to tell they're hurt, but they're really banged up. And then, that's when sometimes injuries come out of nowhere, people say, but that's not really that came out of nowhere. It's, they're always been at risk. You just didn't know.
Right.
And so those are the two biggest ones: getting rest, and that flexibility.
So he sent this one in. He said, if we would start today, or start tomorrow, it's kind of late. If we start tomorrow for 4 years training hard for the next Summer Olympics, what event would you pick to have any sort of competition in?
I mean, it would have to be for me, I'm probably thinking the only thing I might have a chance at would be like archery.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say archery, yeah.
That's probably the only thing that, I would love to say it's, rugby, but I'd get killed.
I think we were talking about this earlier today, and I heard it. I might be stealing somebody's, so I heard it brought up, but I would definitely say probably handball.
I was
Handball,
thinking that,
yeah.
I might be able to get out there and get a deflection or two. Get an assist.
Yeah,
Something where you're not a complete liability.
I feel like
Out
handball
on
would be
there.
really fun to play too.
I was gonna say 100-meter
I
dash,
did-
but I don't.
I did play. I did play
don't got the genetics.
Division One water polo, but there's no way I could do it now. But I had a blast when playing that in college. But
Yeah, handball and even polo, you can put your body on the line with like a deflection.
Yeah.
At least participate that way.
I would probably drown in pole.
Treading water for that long, my goodness.
yeah,
Do they still sword fight?
fencing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you can get there in 4 years if you started.
Man, I don't know if
'Cause
I
you
can get
were-
there in 40.
They're quick.
What other events are there? Can you click on?
Gymnastics, I could do gymnastics in 4.
Do a floor routine.
The floor routine.
Yeah, just, We'll,
Man, I feel like
we'll
you
wait
could
till your inner ear's all messed up. And
Yeah.
like,
could be a good
Call it
diver.
twisties.
A good
I
diver.
feel like Ben could be a good diver.
A diver.
Never divin.
I'm Johnny Hot. And I said, so what do you do? And he said, I'm a computer technician. I said, he said, what do you do? I said, I teach striking in an MMA gym. And he just kind of went. And I said, okay, listen, you got boxing experience. He said, I got 2 months. I said, okay, is your friends here? Yeah. Is your girl here? Yeah. Are they going to videotape this? He said, yeah. I said, listen, if you go in there and box, just box, I'll carry you. We'll go all the way through. And you're going to have a bunch of video and a great story. If you throw a haymaker or anything, I have to put you down. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Like, if you try to hurt me, I have to take care of it.
right.
And so we went in, had a great fight. I attacked his body a bunch. You know, he probably didn't like that, but I didn't hit him in the head much. I really moved around, looked like Muhammad Ali most of the time. And right at the end, I threw my hand up in the air. And this worked in the Tough Man a million times. I threw my jab straight up in the air. And by the time they realize that they've gone like this to a punch that's nowhere near their face, I'm dropping my right hand in their sternum. So I do this to the guy, and I hit him in the sternum. And then this is all on YouTube. You can look this up. I hit him in the sternum and backed up, and he took that one hard. So he put his hands down, and he just stood there. So I slid in, put my hand right to his face, stopped dead, stepped back, and the bell rang. Ended the fight.
Wow.
Like, I put my hand clear to his face. The crowd erupted. I got booed so loud. You've never heard 3,000 people boo all at the same time. I have.
Yeah.
And so they're announcing that I've won this fight because I just annihilated this dude. And I've got my hand in the air, and the ref's walking me around, and I'm going, what? Is that not good enough? I'm screaming at the crowd. And the next morning, Jerry Thomas and Travis Clark both called me, and they're like, you can't yell at the crowd like that. I was like, fuck them. They were booing me. I looked great.
That was just all straight gladiator.
Like,
Would you rather swap bodies? So when I say swap bodies, you have their body, like physical attributes, but not their
Mindset
mindset
or
in the
anything.
game. Would you rather swap bodies with an MLB pitcher in the 9th inning of a no-hitter and you're up 2 points? Or would you swap bodies with an NFL safety, 20 seconds left in the game, your opponent's in the red zone, and you're
Okay.
up 3 points?
Well, first of all, I got to call you out because you said they're up 2
2
points
points
in
and not
baseball.
runs, yeah.
It's runs.
Right,
That's
yeah.
all right. We'll forgive you. It's the first
I
one.
was gonna let that slide. Yeah.
Because like you're relying on to stop your opponent from winning in both situations, but just which would,
Baseball, you got a little. If you can get over the plate, you got a little help. You know.
yeah,
You got people behind you. Safety in the NFL. You're.
you have one.
I don't know.
You're
I probably would.
dangerous.
I'd say safety only
Safety.
because in my head I know more how to play safety than I do how to throw a slider.
Yeah, that's
You have to go safety.
I mean, I might have their body, but I have no idea how I'm holding that ball.
my catcher would be giving me symbols of like I'm
Okay,
getting it over
yeah.
the plate.
We're
That's
just
it.
throwing this, yeah.
It's
And I mean, the only thing that would help you if like would lean me toward pitching is like somebody would probably take me out if I start filling up bases. Like eventually, maybe my coach. would
Beaming
go.
and walking left and right. Yeah.
But if you wanted to be over real quick,
I'd have to go safety.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'd say safety.
Safety.
I mean, worst case scenario, you just run and plow into somebody
Yeah.
and get a
Pass interference. And they
Right,
get the
yeah.
ball in the
unless
one.
you're with the Rams and
They don't call
the
it.
Saints
Yeah,
and they don't
they
call
don't
it. So that's all right.
How would you say the atmosphere now with how many distractions that these kids have? How are you guys able to turn out a good product every year and keep these guys engaged in football?
It's tough, man. It is so tough compared to when, of course, I'm older than y'all. I'm older than everybody in here.
Right.
And of course, back then, no cell phones, so the cell phones was huge.
Right.
The social media wasn't big like that either. You couldn't go on Facebook.
Right.
Was none of that. Now, I mean, it's just so much outside distractions with. I mean, these girls are wild too. Don't get me wrong; the girls are even crazier now. To me. So these boys have a hard time. I tell you that. And but it's a lot different. But I tell you, we have to really hone in on them a lot. Like, listen, we're gonna have to call this house and make sure y'all are in on some nights.
Right.
Like, there's some days like we have our PL days, so we don't have school on Friday. The teachers do, but the kids don't. So we're like, listen, the first game we lost to University, and we should have never lost to them. That hurt us. That first night we didn't have school on Friday, and we lost. And so from then on, we had 2 more games like that, and the coaches came together and said, listen, let's get their butts up. They're going to lift weights at 9:30 in the morning. Get them up and get them moving Thursday, that Friday morning. We ain't letting them just sit around all day Friday, just chilling. And so that's what we did.
Right.
And, and we checked to make sure they was in the house too that night before. Told them no Fortnite till 3 in the morning and all that. No, take your butts to bed.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think like most professional athletes now, they have like streaming channels. They'll get done with a game and hop on their thing. So the kids are seeing that, like I have to do
Right,
that
yeah.
too. And,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely.
So between coaching and playing yourself, do you have an opinion on turf versus a regular field?
Oh, that's a tough one, man.
It's anytime we have a sports episode, it's usually brought up.
Look, as a running back, you love the turf only because you can cut.
Yeah.
But then as a running back, it also scares you because you can cut so hard of your knees. And I get scared. I'm a mess. I played on grass, and I told him I love grass except when it's raining. If it rains, I forget that grass. I don't want no grass if it's raining.
Right.
But in the turf, it's just it grabs you almost. It feels like it's grabbing you. But even though the turf is a lot better than what it was, it's that field turf now, but it's still a little different. It just ain't. And of course, my oldest son, I don't know if you remember, Shay, my Savion tore his knee up his junior year. And it wasn't because of the turf. He just got hit. But I've been a mess. Like, I'm telling you, I got like, what do you call it?
PTSD.
PTSD. Listen, I'm in the headset and they're laughing at me. I'm like, get up, get up, get up. Every time someone gets tackled.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just a mess because of that turf.
How much did the injury that you said it ended your career back in the day? How much did that help with you being able to be there psychologically for Savion when it happened with him?
Listen, I was a mess. I can't even lie. I was probably more of a mess than him, I think, because I hurt for him because I knew what he's going to go through.
Right.
Even though I didn't have to go through as much because I didn't tear my ACL. It was my MCL. And a lot of times, depending on the severity of your MCL, sometimes they'll let your MCL heal. Mine had to have a little surgery, but it wasn't nothing like that ACL because Savion tore, it's called the horrible triad. So he tore the ACL, MCL, LCL. The meniscus was torn, the PCL. Like, it was the entire knee. Yeah. And that's what, so it was rough. It was a rough year trying to walk him up and down the steps. And then the main thing was a lot of colleges backed away after he hurt his knee.
Right.
Because as a sophomore, he had Toledo, Youngstown State, Kent State. They were all over him.
Right.
And then when he tore that knee, they kind of was like, ugh. And Savion will tell you, even though he come back his senior years when we won the state championship in 2015, he let him. He had like 1,900 yards rushing that year, coming off that knee injury, but he wasn't the same. Okay. And sometimes it takes 2 years for you to get all the way back.
I did everything just kind of lined up for me.
Mm-hmm.
I was training. I don't know if you guys can go.
Anything.
Yeah, I was the only one to say ass. Anyway. I was training my ass off. I remember this too. I don't think I ever told this either. I was working at Melbourne Youth Home, I'm gonna tell you about Melbourne in a minute. I was working at Melbourne Youth Home every day, 6 days a week. This is after I graduated, after I was done with football. I mean, after I done with college football. Working there 6 days a week at 7 a.m. I would go work out, I think, at maybe 5:30 in the morning with Josh. Go to work from 7 to 3. Go back to the gym and work out more with Josh for another couple hours. Then I would, go see my family, go see my daughter. And I did that 6 days a week. And you kind of forget stuff like this, when you're in it. It was just fun to me, but it was like I'm putting all my eggs in this basket.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I killed my pro day. I set records on my pro day, like real life records. But if it was documented, I was killing it. Then I had another, back then it was called the Super Regional Combine. I didn't get invited to the Combine, obviously, but I went to the Super Regional Combine, and that's where I set the records. I had a 46-inch vert, standing vert. At my pro day, I ran a 4.2. I ran a 4.21. They gave me a 4.3 because it was hand time. No, I ran a 4.28. I'm sorry, I'm lying. A 4.28. I ran a 4.28, but they gave me a 4.3. What I do? My broad jump at the Super Regional was the best that year in the whole country out of the big guys. I was killing it. I was killing the pro. Day. Didn't have a lot of film. You know what I'm saying? I never really played too much football. But I told Mr. Mel all this, Mr. Mel Blunt, the Hall of Famer for the Steelers. That's who I worked for 7 years. Throughout high school and college, I worked for him the whole time. I told him what I was doing. He was like, man, if you had a good season, I can call up there and see your film. I was like, man, come on, Mr. Mel, I ain't played. He was like, man, I can't, what am I gonna do? So he called anyway. This how good of he liked me because he thought I was a good dude. He thought I wasn't gonna dirty his name. Right. Like, if they gave me a shot, I was gonna be respectful. I was gonna give my best.
He could tell you were chasing it.
He never seen me play. He just did it just because he knew me and he loved me. He called the Steelers. They gave me a workout. I was with two other D1 dudes. So one dude went to Duquesne. I'm still friends with him to this day. He's a DJ in LA. And the other, I can't remember the other dude. But I did the workout. The dude who was throwing his name was Ray Jack. He was the player engagement guy. He came to me after. He was like, man, you honestly look the best. I'm like, really? Yeah, he was like, yeah. And they was like, then the Coach Solomon came. He was like, yeah, man, you did good. He was like, we can't sign you today. We got a roster. We got a full roster. But if something happens, we'll call you. I'm like, yeah. Bro, when I left, I was like, I just got my shot. Like, I did what I had to do. Now, let's go get a job. You know? Because I was like, that was my shot. I'm no way they will call me.
Yeah.
No lie. I'm working out. But, my bad. I told Josh I was going to give it another, couple weeks. Because I got calls from 16 teams. But nobody brought me in because they didn't have film.
Right.
So, I was working out for, another couple weeks. And, in my mind, I was going to work out for another couple of weeks, but later that week, I'm working out at Josh's, and I walk back in, and I got a missed call from somebody, from a 412 number. I'm like, who's calling? It was spamming my phone. It's, I get it on the, what's it called, the voicemail. Hey, it's such, I should have kept that voicemail, man. Hey, it's such and such from the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're signing you today. Give me a call back such as this number, right? I'm like, get out of here. I'm screaming and yelling. I didn't call the dude back yet. I'm screaming and yelling. Me and Ray jump. I'm with Ray at the time. We jumping around. Called him back. He was like, hey, CJ, this is such and such from Pittsburgh Steelers, man. We got an open spot. We're signing you today. And how fast you can get up here? I said, I'm about to jog. I would jog up here. I kid you not, that's what I said. And so I ran home, packed my stuff real quick. I'll never forget this. I went home, outside of having my kids. I went home, walked in the house. I told my, I didn't call my mom. I walked in. I was like, Mom, the Pittsburgh Steelers are signing me today. She said, what? Damn. Immediately started crying. Wow. It was like the happiest day. Outside of having my kids, that was the happiest day of my life, man.
if you had to compete in any high school sport arena, field, court, etc. in the Ohio Valley, where would you want it to be? It cannot be anywhere that's part of your alumni.
So where would you want to play away if you had to pick?
If I had to play away, or if I was on, like if I played like for that team that would be the home team.
If you're playing an opposing team, where would you want to go to be on the away side?
Oh,
Who do you think maybe has the best stadium, the best looking court?
Anywhere you'd prefer to play away, like an away home game.
In the Ohio Valley, that's I know Creek just got turf up there, and it's a really sharp looking stadium. You know, Death Valley with Big Red, that's not visitor side friendly at all. They did that.
Yeah.
They did that on purpose, and it's just you're basically under the bleachers. So Harrison Central's got a
They
beautiful
just
field.
redid theirs.
Yeah, it's
nice.
Wow, that's.
Did you play football when they redid to the blue and the silver?
I believe so. I
Yeah.
believe that was still there.
I knew they.
Or no, it wasn't.
didn't.
It was.
I knew it was like
still
a couple years after.
It was still the high grass.
Yeah.
It was high grass. I
Oh.
vividly remember rolling my ankle on the high grass.
What did you prefer playing on, turf or grass? Because everybody's moving to turf now.
Yeah, the turf is tough because it's you see some guys in the NFL getting injured pretty bad now, and the turf just has no give to it. I personally prefer grass if it's well kept. If they roll it and everything's flat. Ferry's Field. I loved playing on Ferry's Field. The first couple of years that it was that they kind of created it, but I'm more of a natural grass.
Yeah. There's those little injuries like turf toe, right, that you get from just stopping and not having any give.
Yeah, I still don't understand turf toe, but I guess it really messes you up because there's too many guys that are always out for a long time for toe injury. So
yeah, the turf toe, I've never experienced it, but it's crippling if you can't plant on your foot and you just have no strength in your big toe. Turf toe is like a pulled hammy, just lingering constantly.
Yeah, so I don't know, where would you pick then?
I was thinking football places, but the first one that came into my mind was St. C basketball. I don't know if it was the Ferry St. C rivalry, but every time we played in St. C, it was loud.
Yeah.
So St. C, I would say St. C, and then I actually like playing at Wheeling Central too.
Basketball.
They were pretty loud too. So.
What would be your spot, Jake?
St. Clairsville football field for ultimate frisbee. That's where we always would meet up.
And that was the one that we all wanted.
Mm-hmm.
If nobody else won, we wanted him to have his jacket. He
That's
got
awesome.
it. And it's one of the proudest moments as a coach
I've
ever had.
Congrats
Outside
to
of him choking a guy from up this high.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he started kicking a guy a bunch of times, and the guy he kicked him across, and the guy scooped his leg, picked him up in the air. And we had just been working on triangles all week long. And he looks at me from clear up in the sky, and I go, lock it in. And he puts it on the guy. The guy slams him on the ground. And in front of his black belt instructor, he taps out. Now, the guy goes up into the ring with the microphone, and he tells him, he goes, this is the first time I've ever seen anybody get slammed on their head. Look at their corner and smile. Because it was over.
Yeah.
As long as he held on from the slam, he was good.
Yeah.
He did.
Nice.
And it made it tighter in a sense. Like,
Absolutely.
I knew it was locked in at that point. And
There's
just looked at him. I'm like,
there's moments at the end of my career as a coach that I'll look back on, and him doing that, Richard winning his jacket, Steven getting his jacket, and just this. The success of D. Turner, those things are going to stick with me forever.
So what is it like, like you said, coaching this arena ball? Like, does the schemes different from, high school, college, or NFL? Or are you able to keep the same philosophy for
For the most part, it's still run, tackle, catch, block, football. So, but we got a guy in motion, which is a little bit different. Think of it as like your CFL, Canadian Football League style. It's just 8-on-8. You got guys running in motion and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. Going into my 17th season at this level, coaching arena football, I also coach high school football. So, but I'm an air raid guy, spread outside. So that's still my speed of slinging the ball around. So that's what I love about the arena football game. With the high scoring and stuff like that. So it's not much scheme difference. It's obviously your verbiage on certain things is a little bit different.
Right.
And things happen much faster. So you just got to be able to kind of condense things down, so to speak, with the 8-on-8. It's not 11-on-11. So
I got you.
Yep.
No, did you play arena ball or did you just get into the coaching there?
So I did play arena football. I played 2 years when I got out the Marines in 06 and 07. I played quarterback. I played all through high school. Obviously, I went to the Marine Corps, so I didn't play in college. But I played 3 out of the 5 years I was in the Marines. We had a team. It's pretty cool there. You got different units, and you're playing units, and it's a lot of athletes in the military. So it's pretty fun competition, and get a little wild sometimes too. So the 2 years I didn't play, I was in Iraq. So we weren't playing football there in Sunnyside Beach, Iraq. So
yeah, well, I mean, sometimes when you get a little MWR, I've been deployed with Army and Marines, and sometimes you get a pigskin, and it can get a little heated, especially cross service. So it's
absolutely,
like you said, a bunch of athletes, and just nobody in the military wants to lose. So it can get 2-hand touch can get full on tackle football. So
well, one of the coolest things from playing in the military versus your traditional. You come off the field, you get your break, you're getting your water bottle, you're sipping some water before you go back out. The military is taking a smoke break. They run off to the field, and you got guys lighting up a cigarette before they go back to the field. And that was pretty awesome. That's pretty funny to see.
Like him,
who's the racer put himself against the wall?
Him. Ross Chastain, yeah. Oh, that was crazy.
That was crazy.
To me, that just seeing that, it's like this guy
does
will do like he wants to win.
He wants it. Yeah.
Like he just.
If you have to get a rule changed immediately after a race because something you did, I'm behind you on.
Which I don't know if I agree. I mean, maybe it's the right thing to do, but him doing that, like I had people coming up to me at work, and they're I don't know about you guys, but people are like, "Oh, you like NASCAR? Left turn, like yeah." So, but I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. But people are coming up like, "Did you see that guy?" And it's like, "Well, did you watch the race?" And I'm like, "No, but I've seen like it drew attention
to the sport,
like." And then they're like, the first thing they do is like outlaw it.
Yeah. Do you think? Think if it wasn't outlawed, other people would try that?
I don't know. I don't even know how you would know to do that because they said it's like a video game move. I've never once done that in a video game of playing NASCAR. Maybe not on purpose. Like but that was in the playoffs, right? Yeah, points are on the line. So I mean, people aren't going to do it every week, but in that matter, like he's going all out to advance to the next round. Yeah, he had to do that. Yeah, he just passed Hamlin. That was.